I'm here. Does she see me? I'm here. I don't have a, I can't do my video. My video broke on my laptop.
Well, I can hear you.
Okay.
Stacy.
I wonder, Gail, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Check out the council, find out if video alone is allowable. I know you're going to make an announcement.
I already asked about that. So I can't do it. I already had a long conversation with David, so.
If the Director Smith, the Brown Act requires that we have audio and video.
Well, that's not true, but that's okay.
President Morton, when you're speaking, you're breaking up. I can hear Director Smith very clearly, but what's coming out of the boardroom is a tiny bit garbled.
Okay, I will try to sit closer to the microphone. Does that make it better, or is this a TO problem?
That made it a little better.
Yeah. I don't understand why this is not coming out.
Well, I mean,
Well, then, if that's what the code section, so my assumption is that you're referring to Government Code 54953 and other sections of the Government Code, which could provide for how directors may participate in the meetings remotely.
I'm referring to SB 707, and I already had a conversation about this with David. Is he there?
no.
Okay. This is ridiculous. I can't even hear you guys. So.
Well,
Roger, do you have your microphone turned on?
yeah. Did that include a discussion about audio and video? Did you discuss the problem with the video with it?
So Roger, you're also coming across a little bit garbled. It's almost like for some reason the audio feed from the boardroom is breaking up a tiny bit.
It's really bad. I can't hear anybody except for Tom.
Roger, you may need to speak closer to the microphone.
Okay, so Government Code Section 54953.8.3, which, as I understand, Director Smith is asserting that she's participating toward this alternative for just cause reason. A2 says the member shall participate through both audio and visual technology.
Well, I can't hear you, so I don't know what to tell you. Your audio there is not working.
So may I speak? And I don't know if you can hear me, Stacey. I'm going to try it again.
I can hear you, Gail. I just cannot hear Roger at all.
Okay. So what Roger just read to the full meeting here was Government Code Section 54953.8.3, subsection paren A, paren 2, which provides that you may appear for just cause without having the public present. I'm summarizing. Provided you are participating with voice and video. So the code under California law is directing that participation of board members outside of the board meeting room, even with just cause, requires voice and video to participate.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I was not told that, and I'm going to have to leave the meeting and come back on a different computer.
Yes, or your iPad. So.
I can't, no, I'm not using that iPad. The iPad doesn't work. Okay, I'm gonna leave the meeting and I'm gonna try to go on a different computer and get it fixed.
Thank you, Director Smith. I appreciate the effort that you are making to participate tonight.
Yeah,
We
it's
will be
going on.
commencing the meeting. We do have a forum. And also then you will be joining us in closed session. If you have the computer, is there a different connection for her and Tom for closed session? I wanted to be sure they both have it. Perfect, thank you. I'm not asking you your job, I'm just checking. Okay, so since we do have a quorum in the room, we are going to go ahead with a call to order. This meeting is now called to order. And I'm looking for a timestamp at 6:07. And we'll take a roll call. Director Moore?
Present.
Director Moore?
Present.
Director Smith? Vice President Training? Yes. President Morton? I'm also present. And I am speaking very close to this microphone, which I know is irritating, but I'm trying to make sure that those members appearing remotely are getting the information you can hear. So
Thank you very much, President Morton.
yes. So we will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and we have a visitor, Jim Crowley. Would you like to lead us? To the flag of the United States of America and to the
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so before we go to public comment on our closed session, there are two items that were identified on our closed session agenda. And item 4, what we have is closed session item 5A, which pertains to negotiations by the general manager with the Seaside Basin Water Master for a non-native water storage and recovery agreement. That is pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Item 5B, which relates to public employee performance evaluation for our general manager, is being tabled to a future meeting. So we have one item on the closed session. I now invite public to comment on the closed item session. If you are appearing via Zoom, you can raise your Zoom hand and we will allow you to speak or enable you to speak is a better way to say that. And I'm talking because I'm looking for hands to go up. I don't see any hands being raised. In the room, anybody wishing to address the closed item session? I see a lot of look at me back, but nobody indicating they want to speak. Okay, so we're closing public comment on closed session items. We have one matter. So we would anticipate being able to reconvene earlier than 7, someplace, hopefully by 6:30, 6:45. Okay, thank you. And there is no reportable action taken during our closed session. At this
Recording in
point-
progress.
It's really hard to hear you.
At this point, we're going to go to oral communications. This is the time for anybody wishing to address the board on matters not appearing on our agenda. This is the time to do so. Those of you attending via Zoom, if you wish to address us on items not on the agenda, raise your Zoom hand. Or turn on your camera. I'm not seeing anybody speaking up, raising hands, turning on cameras. Anybody in the room? Please. Yeah, turn on the microphone.
Yeah, we can't hear.
Very much. I'm Cheryl Dawson, from grade 9.
We
Student.
can't hear you.
We are
We-
new in East Garrison. And your staff has been wonderful in helping us to understand our water bill. And so we just have a lot of requests, stations, from what we've learned. We understand the calculation from what they've explained to us, but if there's anything understanding on it, let us know. One thing I would recommend, I work for a community college and our board agendas, they have closed session at the very end and you have at the very beginning of the meeting, and that really helps for members of the public to for dinners with their family and they things like that. Recommendation. My comments are regarding the wastewater collection charge. And we had our first bill that was just for 15 days. And we understand the base portion of that is not retro. It's not per diem. You just pay it. So even if you enter the billing cycle on the very last day of the billing cycle, you pay the fixed price. And I know the consumption base is retro. Or, you break it out per day. Prorate, thank you. My understanding is there are just 4 people that work for the board that do the billing and they do it by hand, and so it's not possible, but it seems like it be something since the base charge of the water consumption is prorated. It seems like option charge would be. And then also I understand the wastewater collection, since we are brand new customers, that it's based on an average, a winter average. However, it seems more logical that since there's not an output meter, but there is an input meter that can much reduce us. So that we sort of know how much water we're sending out. Now, obviously, some of that water is going to go from one paper, but it's good for us since you don't have to meter that right now. We used 2 units in that period of time, but we're being charged with the base because we don't. We didn't trust them when we do extra. We did that much. So those would be recommendations, and we appreciate your staff taking the time to explain the charges to us, and we appreciate your.
Thank you for attending our meeting. Welcome to our community and to being one of our components. Thank you. No. Anybody else wishing to speak? So I know we don't generally answer questions. Is it appropriate that there's just some comment about the winter being December, January, because there generally is no outdoor landscaping? And that's why and I wanted to point to our rate study, that this was a great deal of consideration in our rate study to come up with the base rates and how we're going to compute rates for wastewater. We spent a great deal of time.
Okay. I didn't get the question. I'm sorry.
Do you want to respond to the questions that were posed?
No.
That's fine. All right, anybody else? Public comment? Not seeing anybody wishing to speak on matters not on the agenda. We'll move to our consent calendar. Our consent calendar consists of receive and file the check register for the month of May 2026. Approve a prepayment of Marina Coast Water District's CalPERS annual employer unfunded accrued liability contribution for our fiscal year 2026-2027. Adopt a resolution to approve a fiscal year 26-27 professional services agreement with Roush Communications. E, adopt and approve the fiscal year 2026-27 professional services agreement with Regional Government Services Authority to provide human resources and risk management services to the district. E is to approve the purchase of the locker room and restroom modular unit for the district's corporation yard for fiscal year 26-27. And F is to amend the Garney Pacific construction contract for phase 1 of the Reservation Road East South Plant Reservation project. Those are the items. I'm going to the board first. Director Imamura, I think you wanted to pull something.
Items A, B, D, and E.
So item A, C, D, and E. Any other directors? Director Smith?
Yeah, first, we cannot hear you. I mean, the audio is really messed up. So I don't know what Director Imamura said. I'm trying to read it on transcript. I would like to pull C, please.
C? Okay.
C is in cat.
Yes, it's pulled.
Okay, thank you.
Director Moore,
Nothing to pull, thank you.
Vice President Schreiner. Okay. So we have pulled A as in apple, C is in cat, D is in David, and E is in Earl. I will take, anybody want to make a motion for approval of consent calendar items A, B, and F?
So move.
So we have-
What did you say? Wait, hold, I gotta go back and read this. What are you moving on, Director Moore? Because I didn't hear what she said.
Motion is to approve the consent calendar items Bravo and Foxtrot, B and F.
Okay, because the others we pulled. Okay,
Yes, that is correct.
I second that.
Okay, well, we have a motion made by Vice President Schreiner.
Oh,
And-
Schreiner, we can't hear you. So,
I understand. That's why I'm trying to
okay.
say really loudly. Thank you. I'm really trying to communicate.
Something's wrong with the audio there in the room.
And I think that Director Imamura's second was heard first. So we have a motion for approval of 8, B, and F. And take a roll call. Director Imamura,
Yes.
Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Vice President Schreiner? Yes. President Morgan? Yes. Okay, so now we are going to return to item 8C, which is the professional service. I'm sorry, 8A. Sorry, thank you. Thank you, Director Imamura. Receive and file the check register for the month of May of 2026. Thank you. And that starts at page 3 of your agenda. So Director Imamura, you pulled this item. Would you like to lead off with your questions or concerns?
Yes, thank you, President. And this is regarding our expenses for legal advice and legal work. And so I see on the first page of the check register statement, we have an ACH for people, and I assume that's that. So you don't write checks for that. So it's just been automatically like about billing. Comes straight out of our account, goes to their account. Okay, because I can see the same numbers on the page 6. So page 7. Oh, so with that, maybe question for staff or for the general manager is that the legal services, is that for one specific month or is it just a proration of the contract for the year?
It's for direct services bill.
Okay, so whatever they charge. That's what they- is what they owe.
And it's reviewed by staff. Every item on the list is then initialed by one of the directors that authorized the work, or myself, and then it clears the sales.
And again, is that for like 1 month?
Yes.
For 1 month's service. So
Yeah.
generally, these firms don't accumulate like over 2 or 3 months and say, and we'll just lump it all together and then just say,
Yeah, generally no.
okay. And is that the same thing for the reading news manually on page 7, which is an amount for 106,000.
Yeah.
So that was for 1 month.
Yes.
And then, so we write them the other check. For those. Yes. All right, thank you.
Any other questions with regard to this item?
Move approval of item A.
So I have a motion made by Director Imamura for approval of item 8A, the check register. A second by Vice President Reiner. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Imamura,
Yes.
Vice President Reiner. Yes. President Morton? Yes. So item 8A has passed unanimously. We now move to item 8C, which is the professional services agreement with Roush Communications. Director Smith, you have your hand raised.
Yes. So my question is Martin in the room or?
Martin is on Zoom.
Okay, can he hear me? Because I don't see.
So
Okay, I see him there. Can he hear us? Okay.
do we want to move Martin?
I have a question specifically for him, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay,
Yes,
can we move?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so my question is Roush Communications using AI and or Chat GPT for any marketing for Marina Coast Water District?
We use it for intermediate work. So we use it for research, we use it for developing ideas, but everything is written, reviewed, edited by human people.
So you are using it for research and ideas?
Yep.
Okay. And how often would you say you guys use it? Daily, weekly, hourly?
Multiple times a week. I don't track it like that. I didn't use AI today, for instance, but we do use it.
Okay. And are your staff using Chat GPT to create photos or enhance photos in any way?
Not very often. I think that does sometimes, but we have graphic designers who certainly do over 90% of that. If they do, it's for very simple things like adding words to something. We're not just inventing photos out of nothing.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that the end of your questions, Director Smith?
Yeah.
Thank you. Director Imamura.
I don't have questions for Mr. Roush. I have questions for staff.
Okay.
I can do that.
Mr. Roush, don't leave because I have questions for you.
So with regard to this, this amount, it's a yearly, this is a yearly contract. Okay, and, what was it?
So fiscal year 25-26, the contract is for 216.
The 216, so. it's probably, yeah. This year.
It's a 5%.
So was that just a standard, you put a standard 5%?
Not necessarily. So we go by the scope of service, if there's anything in addition. But for their regular services, we do use a standard CPI. And then whatever additional
okay.
services. I'll do that. Other contractors.
I guess is what I'm wondering, is there anything additional that they're gonna do over the past fiscal year that they're gonna be at doing last year? That's what they. That's what I think the things that I think it's,
So the current proposal, they have their complete reduced the run of by 3%. And then we have two mailers that we have them to do for the next fiscal year.
So to answer the question directly, Director, well, yes, we're adding. Other people.
okay. That doesn't mean they're gonna be using that.
That is correct. It's not a time material.
So I just wanna make that clear. Okay, all right, thank you.
So my question follows on that. So I understand it's time and I understand it's up to the 193,000 as appears in your discussion analysis. It does indicate it's 34,000 for the preparation, production, mailing of 2 customer newsletters. I want to note, because that appears to be a flat fee, 17,000 for each newsletter. My question is, what are the mailers intended for? Are they going out independent of our monthly billing? So those are 2 questions. Got a third one. Does that 34,000 come from start of development of the printed material, printing, and postage, and all responsibility to get it to the customer's door?
Yes, so to answer your last question, 34,000 is for the from start to finish, including postage. And I think your second question was for what is it for? So the district has long requested that we provide all our copies, all 17,000 copies. So it's going to be a general mailer talking about the district as a whole, just an update, an overall update, but not for a specific purpose. It's to reach everybody twice a year with a regular update by the district. So we have for that.
Okay, so this is being generated because of our request.
Yes, and just outside of regular.
Okay, so they're mailed separately. Director Imamura has questions.
I had a follow-up question based on your question. But, as a rule, I guess. But with regard to any of our vendors, that we, this is no way, I'm not implying that there was, that we could look at the vendors, because I think most of the really good job of the staff. Do we look at maybe after, a number of years or something that we might want to look at to see if we can refresh things and maybe, obviously, things are evolving on a daily basis?
I think that's a good practice, and it's something that we have done internally a few times where we're moving along that relationship, kind of need to refresh. We have that discussion, then we go out for an RFP, and if they win again, great. If we don't, then we move on to another provider. This is poignant in our professional services agreement, I would say mostly with engineering, where we have a number of engineering houses, professional service entities that are interacting with us. And so being able to develop a broad stable of providers is important to us. And I think that it needs both parties, you know, looking for opportunities to make it better. So I would say that it's not a programized practice of the district, but it is a private.
And to follow up on a comment that Director Smith had made before, we use AI and other. With the advent of it, we've seen how, you know, just for me, and I know my wife, it's amazing tool. But wouldn't that say that maybe you're not spending as much time as you would have in the other way? And that's why I asked about the increase. Maybe there should be an actual decrease because things are moving up quickly with how things are being produced. So I don't know. I'm just here asking questions. Yeah, I think that's something that we may have to look into.
There will be definitely something we will confront. Just so everybody's aware, I have recruited AI here at the district. So until such time as we have a policy on board, the district does not use AI. And we're working on that policy. Right. Yeah.
As we speak. Okay. Oh yeah, I just think that we've had advent, and I guess an example is that it's spoken to the attorney not related to this, but they were saying that they know of a lot of charging the same or more for the work, and they're doing less, you know, in terms of hour, because attorneys generally bill by the hour, right? It's session by the hour.
I think by the minute.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, you know, carrying that forward, you know, maybe our legal team here is using a lot of AI in their office, and why not? So, you know. Anyway. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Director Smith?
Yeah, so closed captioning is not even working, and we're a multi-million-dollar water district, and we can't even have a proper Zoom link or OWL that even picks up what you guys are saying in closed caption. So right now, this whole meeting isn't even ADA compliant. I had no idea what Director Imamura was even saying. It's not even picking up. It's like closed captioning is like picking and choosing what words that you guys are trying to say. So before we go spend more money on marketing, why don't we get this fixed? That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Vice President Schreiner, anything you want to comment on this item? Yeah, any of the public want to be heard on this matter before we make a motion? I don't see anybody raising their hand to speak, so I'm entertaining a motion from Vice President Schreiner.
Second.
He hasn't made it yet. Second, move approval 2026-35. Item 8C.
Second.
So we have a motion by Vice President Schreiner, a second by Director Moore. We're now ready for a roll call vote on 8C as in cat. Director Smith?
I'm a no, and I'm going to tell you why. One, I refuse to do business with anybody who's using ChatGPT to modify people's photos, which they've done to me already, and using AI too much. It's costing 5 liters of water every time you do that. So that's a no, and I would prefer the money go to fix this problem that is happening with the owl in the boardroom. I had no idea people on Zoom were having to go through this. So there's my no.
Director Ingram Moore,
Yes.
Director Moore,
Yes.
Vice President Schreiner,
Yes.
President Morton,
Yes, so the motion for approval of the contract for professional services with Roush Communications has passed with 4 members of the board voting yes and 1 no vote by Director Smith. Director Smith, I do want to acknowledge that we are hearing the difficulty of the sound system, and that will be addressed. It's just not on the agenda tonight.
Of course, it's not.
Okay, so we're now moving to item 8D. D is in David, which is to approve a professional services agreement with Regional Government Services Authority to provide human resources and risk management services to the district. Director, Mary LaGasco's gonna. No? So you pulled this, Director MMR?
So, question, so regarding the vendor, so, is this just a continuation of what they've been doing for like the past year, or there's any additional things to do? You see, okay, can you clarify exactly what they do? They do like computing, they do some risk management type things, or recommend things?
so the scope of their services should be included.
It's on page 37 in our
37.
agenda packet to start summarize. And then you're referring to the actual contract on page 51. I'm sorry I'm repeating, but I'm trying to make sure, and I'm speaking this slow, trying to make sure that those in attendance via Zoom are getting the information.
Right,
You might pull your microphone just a little bit close.
okay. And thank you for President for making it more clear, and that's what basically that's essentially what they're not doing anything any extra.
No.
And how long do you anticipate you going to be along?
I'm just looking now.
For sure this year, we still plan on using RGS or HR services. We will have that conversation with you the following year if we're ready to receive for the income.
Okay, thank you.
This microphone, you just want to use it. If in fact, I know that we're using RGS current, and part of that discussion in the future is it sometimes, or part of the discussion, whether to bring it in-house or keep it with RGS, who are skilled, is what the cost difference would be for bringing it in-house. The cost differences plus is what's the benefit? Is that? Thank you. Our general manager second said yes. But that's where you're looking to when that becomes more cost effective or of greater benefit than any additional cost before we would bring it in.
That's correct. Right now, RGS is on site 2 days a week, 3 days a week. The rule of thumb is 1 HR professional for every 100 employees. We're not quite there yet, but I can say that right now our RGS is filling the gap, and we're using a number of services underneath the 1 professional that's in-house. Right? So we're using a lot of back office staff to do classification studies and whatnot. So I think that it'll be tremendously beneficial to us going forward as we're moving into contract negotiation season and having them on board to help move through that process.
Thank
But
you for
after
your
that-
response. Any other questions by directors? I do not see Director Moore or Director Smith's hand. Vice President Schreiner, any questions? Okay, somebody want to move approval
So
of the,
moved.
so we have a motion by Director Imamura for approval of the professional services agreement with the RGS. Second. A second by Vice President Schreiner. We're ready for a roll call vote.
Director Imamura,
Yes.
Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes,
Vice President Schreiner. Yes. President Morton,
Yes, so we have approved the professional services agreement with Regional Government Services Authority to provide human resources by unanimous vote of the board. We are now moving to item 8E as in Earl, which is to approve the purchase of the locker room and restroom modular unit for the district courtyard for fiscal year 26-27. Director Imamura, I believe you pulled item E. Would you like to start?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to clarify. So, I think you did a good summary. I'm just kind of wondering, so now the vendor, whoever you bought it, you bought these units, and you said they have a life. What was the life of them?
25 years.
25
years, yeah, useful life.
Okay, but the thought was that you were gonna just go ahead and do some. What was it? The thought was you were gonna lease their own place.
Not necessarily. So the thought originally when we first put the trailers in, contemplating relocating the corporation yard to a different station they're currently at.
Right.
And so it made sense at that time getting to a lease of the modular unit. There is a long-term need now for the modular as we have our thought process changed on where the corporation yard will end from that residency, which most likely is going to be there at the 24th Avenue. So there is a need to have that modular long-term. So financially it makes sense to purchase it out.
Okay, and so it was basically a change in direction. In other words, if you're gonna stay here. So, were you able to go back to the vendor and ask them if they were, if you were, they were willing to accept the lease payments that were made for the purchase?
Oh, no, that's definitely not part of it. So originally when we got into the district, we discussed, the leasing option.
Okay, well, I'm just, don't ask, the answer goes no. So, yeah, we can go have on it.
That'd be nice, yeah.
So I mean, well, yeah. Okay, yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. So you envision probably they're going to be a permanent fixture.
Yeah, and it's really great. I think hopefully you prove it, but it's great facility and there's a long-term need for it. And even
Okay.
beyond its current structure and layout, as the corporation yard and remodeling work that it's done, it could be used for proposal training. So yeah, it's definitely a good facility. It's well maintained. Brand new, was bought it.
Right.
In fact, all Power Water has really designed it and it's all now. It's great. It's kind of an odd act.
Right, right. How about the ongoing periodic maintenance? That can be,
Yeah, there's not really too much to it. So we already have it on a maintenance plan. So one of the main things is the HVAC unit. So that's cool. But again, everything's just brand new. All the sewer piping, the water piping, fixtures in there with brand new. So lots of people can clean it accordingly.
all right, great, thank you.
I'm looking to other directors. Nobody has their hands up and public.
well, we don't really know what we're saying, so.
Move approval of resolution 2026-37.
So this is for the purchase of the locker room and restroom modular unit for the district corporation yard. So we have
That is correct.
a first from Director Moore, a second by Director Imamura. We're ready for a roll call vote. Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Imamura,
Yes.
Vice President Trainer. Yes. President Morton.
yes. So the item, we have just approved the purchase of the locker room and restroom modular unit. We are now concluded our consent agenda. We're moving to our action items. And action item, I should have announced this earlier, my apologies. Item 9B has been tabled. So we have an action item to conduct a public hearing to receive public comment on the draft 2025 Urban Water Management Plan, adopt a resolution approving the 2025 Marina Coast Water District Urban Water Management Plan. Patrick Green is going to start this discussion.
Yes, thank you, President Morton and members of the board. Patrick Green with Water Resources. Yes, item 9A is seeking the board's approval of resolution 2639, which is the approval of the urban water management, or the urban water management plan that we, just some background, the Urban Water Management Act was signed into law back in 1983 by Governor George W. Mason. It's been amended various times from 2014 all the way to Governor Brandon for water law solving. It requires any water purveyor serving over 3,000 acre feet of water or having 3,000 customers to produce this plan every 5 years. It requires the supplier to coordinate, write, and adopt the plan, not just adopt the old version. It can't be something that's pro forma from the lab. It dictates a 20-year demand forecast and supply reliability to meet that demand forecast. And more specifically, force the suppliers to prove they have enough water for a normal single dry year or 5 consecutive dry year scenarios over that 20-year horizon. It's a required prerequisite for any state funding related to water. You have to have your water management plan submitted to the state. Staff issued a request for qualifications in fall of last year. We received 5 responses for the request to form the plan, and we subsequently contracted with San Hero, and Mr. Jim Crowley will be presenting the urban water management plan that we've compiled. He's a licensed civil engineer and principal with San Hero and has over 30 years of experience in water and waste. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Crowley.
Patrick stole my thunder on the very first slide. So I'm going to give you an overview of the urban water management plan update and the plan. Sorry, Jim, can you speak closer to the microphone, please? Oh, yeah, close I can get. I don't want to touch it, you know. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is what Patrick will plan over. I do want to bring up a comment that President Morton made in the committee. They are due every 5 years on the O and the O5, but you have until July of the following year to submit. Next slide, please. Patrick talked a little bit about this. There are main requirements of the urban water management plan to describe the service area, the water demands, the supply characterization, supply reliability of water storage contingency plan, which we have already, and our conservation program. Next slide, please. So we've all seen this figure of our service area. In 2025, we had a total of 11,207 connections. And as you can see, 7,200 of them, 3,100 were single family and multi. So it just further illustrates the point that we are a heavily residential based order. Next slide, please. Service area information, we have this very unique 10 land use jurisdictions govern the land within our service area. We reached out to all of them, utilizing the most recent planning documents that we have. And I could want to go back to my very beginning. I forgot to thank Katie, who was the project manager on this and worked with me and did a lot of writing the work and reaching out to the jurisdictions and getting all of their updated development information. So those were used to project the growth and the underlying assumption that's been made in the urban water management plan is that all of our land use jurisdictions general plans will be built out by 2050. Now, we can never predict growth or how fast or how slow it's going to happen. There's a lot of external factors that play into that. But for the purposes of seeing when we need to bring on water supplies, that's the assumption we make. We're not saying that we're going to have this demand or this population in 2050 for sure. We're just saying that we're going to need these supplies as these milestones with longer growth. So we use those land use plans to also project population. 2025, right now we're at about 47,000, which includes residents and the student population. And then the build out of the plans, both residential and the CSP and the master plan with the students, we're at about 67,000.
Yes, I was just gonna ask, are you okay with us interrupting you for
Sure.
questions?
Yeah.
Okay, Director Imamura.
I think you kind of partially answered the question. Where do the student population come from? In addition to the residents of student population, I think the entire population of Marina currently is about 22,000. So we're talking double that. So I'm just wondering what the other 22,000. Are there that many students?
No, it's all of our land use, 10 jurisdictions. So we serve all
No,
of
I
the
know.
footprint. So that's where you're
Well,
getting the
East
47.
Garrison, whatever. I don't know. I just, yeah. So the district runs a annual population analysis, which is also part of other. Okay, well, you get it from another source. From Department of Finance. Right, yeah. But we are reporting it on an annual basis. Okay, any other questions? Next slide, please. So we take the land use projections and convert them into water demands using the district's factors for each type of customers that are defined in our policy. And we convert those to water demand projections. And what's unique about our water demand projections, they include the potable water, they include our recyclable demand, but then also our conservation states. So the district has been able to achieve a significant savings in the customers' water use, and we continue to file that on an annual basis with the state that we save that water, and basically identifying that water has not been pumped, but it would have been pumped if we didn't have conservation. So we add all of those factors up and we get the water demand projections in 2025 from about 5,800 out to full blowout of the land use plans, which is 12,179 acres. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we talk about our supply, and traditionally our supply has been groundwater, and we're familiar with this Smith Valley groundwater basin, the wells right now in the Monterey Subbasin. We are the Groundwater Sustainability Agency, the GSA, for the Monterey Subbasin. Our current GSA or groundwater plan estimates the total volume stored in the subbasin of 1.5 to 3.1 million acre feet. So it's a pretty big reservoir. But the plan also did a initial modeling to see what this is sustainable deal of that basin is, and it was between 4,400 and 9,900 acre feet. So that's a pretty big range considering our demands are like about 1,000 acre feet at the top end. So when you compare those two, we'll talk about later. What's important about our groundwater is addressed in the annexation agreements where they identified our groundwater as contractually recognized as appropriate groundwater rights. So the district is allowed to pump that water to the appropriate water rights. Next slide, please.
May I just ask a
Yes.
question? So the Monterey Subbasin total volume estimated at 1.5 to 3.1 million acre feet. That's double. Why is that a range so wide? And that's double.
Yeah.
Are
so
we just guessing, or why is it such a range? And if it's not relevant,
yeah, everything's always relevant. That's the part. That's the current modeling understanding of the basin. Groundwater modeling and understanding is actually a relatively new field in California, and the modeling efforts are catching up.
okay. So then is it correct to say that there are models that say it's 1.5 and there's models that are saying it's 3.1? So you put a range based on multiple models.
I believe the output of our groundwater model has been gave that range based
Wow.
on their assumptions.
This is coming from EKI.
Yeah, I just wondered why it's such a broad range, but
The model is yes.
that's exactly what I just understood. So it's EKI's representation, and that's what they're able to provide us based on current level of science and what the model is capable of doing.
Correct. I think that though, to put a little finer point on it, a little bit more scientific, we don't know where the seawater event horizon is on our deep aquifers and where it is towards the outcrop. So they're really
That's the name.
estimating where that boundary is to make kind of the scientific judgment for the deep aquifer.
Okay, but as far as supply, if it's 1.5, we're okay. If it's 3.1, we're great.
Correct.
That's the bottom line, is that
Yeah,
we're
yes,
okay
yeah.
at the lower end. Thank you for answering my question.
Next slide.
I'm just gonna comment that I do not see the two other directors, so if their hands are up, I'm not able to identify that. So go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So the we talked about the annexation agreements identifying the contractually recognized appropriate groundwater. this table here just kind of lines them out. We've seen these numbers before. 1,020 acres for marina, 280 acre feet, sorry, identified as irrigation supply in the 96 annexation. The 920 for Armstrong Ranch that we've seen before, CMAX at 500. And then over on the org side, the 93 annexation agreement, which totaled 6,600 acre feet, which is common number soon. That gets split between us, 5,038, and the Army, 1,560. So out of the annexation agreements, our total appropriated groundwater is 9,758. Next slide, please. And we developed recycle as a supply. In the 89 annexation agreement, it states that we are entitled to a volume of recycled water that's equal to the amount of wastewater that we provide, which now and then back to people. So that's a really solid performance. And then the Pure Water Monterey agreement provides us 1,427 acre feet of advanced treated water. Noting that of that 1427, we have to provide 300 acre feet of supply out of our section. So looking out, projecting wastewater out over 2050 and counting in the Pure Water Monterey, we have a very robust recycle supply. Next slide, please. And then we're also bringing our desal plant back online. We are Reservation Road, built in '96 and put on hold in 2003. It's 300 acre feet per year. That's going to be coming back online. And then I think we all remember RUAP that identified both recycled water and desal water as supplies that needed to be developed. So that was 1,500 acre feet at the Garrison site. And then at the Armstrong Ranch, we have a well, some call it 36, which is a brackish well, and we can also put valuation treatment on that. Which when you total all these up over the years, it's not a big supply, but it's a very solid and consistent supply. Next slide, please. Surface water is kind of the less developed supply at this time. There's a right for 17,500 acre feet diversion at this latest diversion facility. They've only been diverting 4,000 to 8,000 acre feet per year since 1916. The district is in the conceptual stage of looking at how to develop surface water. That's a harder effort. The other major supply we're developing, it's not really a new supply, but it's a way to use it, indirect potable reuse. And what we would do there is use the advanced treated water to inject into the groundwater basin. Then we would pump that over many years. So we would be kind of topping off the groundwater basin. And because the IPR supply rises our existing recycled water, it's not a new supply, but it was a strategy to use the recycling point. And then the district is always looking at other options that may come into the future on these supplies. Yes.
So the Salinas River Diversion Facility permitted up to 17,500 acre feet per year. That permit is not an MCWD permit.
Well, so it isn't, but because we've been annexed into 2 and 2A, that supply is supposed to be.
Okay,
And I may have some legal
and I
definitions that are.
okay, so it's there, and currently we're not making use of it, drawing from it, but it is a potential source, and that's why it's identified.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next slide here. Oh. Okay. Okay, so supply summary. We list the numbers out there for each source. The takeaway is we have a very robust portfolio. But we also have future regulations with groundwater that may impact its availability. So to plan for that, the district is pursuing and studying options for other supplies that we talked about, IPR, visa, surface water, to always be ready for anything that may happen.
May I ask
yeah.
a question on that? So when you're saying groundwater potable, 11,040 acre feet, that is what you're saying is vulnerable because of our GSA or other demands. So what you're looking at in this report, this table, is that that's the vulnerability. And we're looking to add groundwater irrigation, recycled, MCWD section 12, all of these other things. It may be that those numbers are backbone to groundwater.
Correct.
Yes. Excuse me, President.
Is that
Director-
incorrect?
No,
Help me.
Director Smith answered.
Oh, thank you, because I cannot see. We're going to take questions from Director Smith. Director Smith, I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm calling on you to ask questions, and I know I am not able to
Yeah,
hear you, so please.
it's really hard because so just so everybody knows, I'm partially deaf. So I have to rely on closed captioning when I'm on any Zoom meetings, and the closed captioning is not even working. So I just heard the speaker say that we're damaged into 2. I mean, it's even printing. I'm saving the transcript so I can give it to Tio because this is just awful. What's damaged is my one question. And because that's what it's saying. So yeah, this is really bad. And I can't even ask proper questions because of what it's printing out as what is being said. So, Gail, you're the only person that we can properly hear. And if you can repeat maybe some of that you heard, then maybe it'll pick it up.
So I don't think the word damaged was being used, although the closed caption could very well have understood that and typed that.
Mhm.
The question that I asked was follow-up to, I think, the statement that you are also trying to understand is of the supply summary, the groundwater potable is what is most vulnerable to being reduced. And I'm asking Jim Crowley to confirm that that's what his statement was.
That is correct.
Okay, and then there's something about injecting something into the groundwork. What's being injected? This is bad. This is what's being written by what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if you didn't say the word inject.
No,
It's-
he's going to respond to your question. Give him a minute.
Okay, sorry, can't see you either, so.
No problem.
Mhm.
The advanced treated water is going to be injected into the groundwater basin.
Okay, the advanced treated border, that's what it didn't pick up. Okay, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. It's like third
problem.
world country Zoom meeting here.
Any other questions, Director Smith?
No, that's it.
President Schreiner. I'd like to look at that question that you had just asked about the groundwater. I know earlier you had mentioned the 4,400 to 9,900 would be the range of possible sustainability. And that you had asked also about the total volume that we think the basin can store. Is quite a wide range. And so on the flip side of that being a vulnerable number, it's the best we can do at this time, but it may go either way, depending if we actually have 3 million gallons stored or if we only have 1.5. Or if we have inputs from other basins, or we have depletion because the groundwater moved out toward other basins. So in my mind, it's kind of squishy, if you will, like this is the best we can do, but it's soft. Would you say it's not exact science?
I would say the science is still improving.
Yeah.
The 4,000 to 9,000 estimate of sustainability is from our PSA efforts, PSP modeling and that. And the big assumptions on that number are what our neighboring basins implement. And that's, as I understand it, the reason for that range.
So if the 18400 subbasin is successful, these numbers, the groundwater numbers here are stronger. If they're not successful, they're weaker. I think in this table, Director Schreiner, the surface water numbers are the most elite, right? They're the squishiest.
Okay, but it kind of depends on how well people's groundwater elevation stabilize who are near us, not just all our basins.
Correct. So when we're talking about the groundwater one, yes.
Yeah, and the surface water, we just haven't yet developed or injection wells or other infrastructure.
Right.
And that goes through probably a massive permitting process, or other neighbors have to be weighed in.
Some of it, I think, is true for IPR, for the indirect potable reuse. This would be connecting in the same way that Monterey One is connecting, and so we would be utilizing already done environmental documents. We would be using already done permitting. So I don't think that would be terribly difficult, as long as we don't move outside the four corners of that space.
Mhm. Go ahead.
All right. Next slide, please, Bill. So now we compare supply to demand for both normal and dry years. Because our supply is so unique around whether recycled water, desal water, we don't have a lot of impacts from droughts, short-term droughts on our supplies. So when we project out our supply for the dry years, we don't reduce it in this. And this table shows way at the bottom our surplus supply, if you will, to illustrate that of all the supply sources that we're looking at, and we do have a lot, but like you mentioned, the Delaware Basin could be capped without some other that really illustrates the importance of these other supplies being ready to fill in the farm.
So if I may ask the question.
Yeah.
So looking at 2030, so we're assuming that we're able to take 11,040 from our groundwater. But if for some reason that doesn't happen, that's going to reduce the 16,859 of our total supply. But we cannot comfortably live if it's reduced by more than 10,000 acre feet. But you have this cushion in here, your bottom line of
Mhm.
what's excess, is that I'm understanding this report is stating that MCWD has enough supply to meet its demands with a very large cushion of 10,827 acre feet. So if the models are wrong, if our numbers are wrong, if there's some catastrophic event, that we should be able to meet all of the demand needs to serve 6,032 acre feet per year.
Correct.
Okay, that's a very good table. Thank you. It makes me feel very comfortable with where we are. The other thing that I would like for you to also indicate, we did this in committee, so I have a little bit better understanding, is while all of these projections are happening and how you are, the acre feet per year to bring all of these different projects online to meet these numbers requires infrastructure improvements. While you're making this report to the state saying, we have this plan, we have this capability, we're looking to meet all of these numbers. I think you did talk about this in your initial comments, but I'm gonna drive it home here, is that it doesn't mean you start building the infrastructure to move to a total supply of 20,402 unless and until some measure of your current supply is being depleted annually. Is that correct?
That is correct, and I will add on to that, if I may.
Please, that's,
And our demand goes up.
okay, our demand goes up and that build out before you start adding projects. I'm waiting for someone to tell me it's 80% use and I'm looking for the magic numbers and that golden rule because I think it's very informative.
So the orderly expansion of the system, the engineering rule of thumb is 80% of our supply being consumed. That supply isn't necessarily the numbers before you.
Yeah.
It is the actual amount of water that we can produce at that time. So right now, we can produce a tremendous amount. There is a certain amount of locks on that because of the allocations, but suffice to say that as demand increases, as soon as supply to that demand is at 80% of the total amount available, the capital program rolls forward and begins to build additional supply capacity.
And where it's going for that supply is sourced right here.
Correct.
Okay. I'm pointing to a slide. I'm not pointing at somebody. Thank you. Other questions? Director Imamura and Vice President Schreiner.
So, this bottom line is, so for the next 25 years, based on the projections that we got, it should be able to speak up.
Yes.
That would be good. Okay. And so the demand, what is that based on? General, you know, projected population growth or? So the demand is based on the 10 land use jurisdiction land use plans, which often have number of members, single family, multi-families, square feet of commercial. We take that and apply the district's demand factors from our policy to come up with that. And I guess this is the best case scenario here. So it's a catastrophic incident that happened. We find out some of our groundwater is contaminated and we have to go through this extraordinary means of, you know, making sure that it's safe. So there's always going to be something out there. There always is, and that's why the state has us update this. In this. Okay, thank you.
Vice President Schreiner.
My other question isn't so much about your presentation. That was great. Thank you for summarizing the
the plan. But I had noted on our page 2-3 of the plan, they figured 2.1 of average climatic conditions. And I thought, that looks so familiar. So I went back to our other past plans, they're all identical. And I thought, we have like some almost catastrophic drought not too long ago. How did I miss? But big droughts don't affect any averages around here. Is there any difference in a more recent graph than
Yeah,
these
so
that we used for 20 years?
Yeah, we have the last 5 years data. If you would put that graph in the final report, there's
Amazing,
I know,
because it
right?
really caused a lot of angst amongst people, and yet it's good pattern. Okay, thank you.
Director Smith's in this race.
Thank you. Director Smith, please ask your questions.
Okay, thank you. So with a very powerful El Nino in the forecast that could exceed 1989, 87, excuse me, 1997, 1998, El Nino's rainfall of approximately 42 inches. This is a normal to dry year. So your projections then would obviously be not based on having 42 inches of rain, correct?
Correct. So our groundwater supply is defined in the execution agreements. Our recycled supply is just based on how much wasteful water that we generate. And the desal water is also independent of whether it rains. The surface supply might be a little bit different. Might give us reason to get that going a lot sooner.
Get okay. The service supply might be a little different, like was getting going a lot sooner. Okay, I'm trying to read what you just said. So can you repeat the part about the surface supply?
The surface supply availability might be affected by a wet season.
Correct. So right, so you don't really project that then in your numbers.
No.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
It's really hard. Sorry, we just can't, it's not picking up anything you guys are saying, so it's hard to like read and try to hear you. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Can't see Director Moore, so I'm assuming he does not have any further questions.
My questions were thoroughly answered at the the Resources and Groundwater Committee meeting last week. So thank you very much for those answers. I didn't want to waste any of the board's time re-asking those questions. I wanted to give my fellow directors time to get their questions in. So thank you very much. No questions.
Okay, we're in the middle of a public hearing, asking for any public.
There's one more slide. If I
Oh,
may.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Gotta wrap it all up.
Put a bow on it.
Yeah. So our more management plan also includes our water storage contingency plan, which is an ongoing policy that there's little much. It includes a description of our conservation program. Not going to go over that here. But in summary, I think the board has done a great job of summarizing from this presentation. We do have a robust supply, but our largest supply with groundwater will be impacted by a lot of things, and we need to be ready in case that happens. So next steps now are open the public, or we're going to have the public, and then if the document gets approved, then we'll submit the water management plan to the California Department of Water Resources through their transmittal.
I'm going to ask one follow-up question on that. We submit it to the DWR, Department of Water Resources. It is submitted. It is not subject to review. The DWR just is the collector of this. And as long as you meet the criteria, and when I say by review, they're not going to tell you, go back and do something. They are going to look at it. You've answered all the questions that are requested of you. Your report is responsible, does show that you're in a proper position to meet the demands going forward. And beyond that, there's no changes made or directed for us to make.
With a slight modification,
Please.
they don't even compare that you have in the supply for your demand. All they're checking is if that information has been entered into the.
Okay. So that was my understanding for it. That's all they're doing is saying it's in our portal. And once it's in the portal, it is there for public access.
Correct.
And that is the whole point of this reporting.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry I cut you off
No,
for your
no.
last slide also. My apologies. Did any directors have further questions of the presenters? Patrick, are you still have more to present? I just want to make sure I've got all of my directors' questions answered. I can now see. I don't see any hands up. I don't see any notation in the room. So since we've answered all our clarifying questions, then I think, Patrick, you're at the microphone to ask us to open a public hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
So the public hearing on this urban water management plan is now open. Anybody wishing to address the board, if you would raise your hand if you're on Zoom. I'm giving you a minute to figure where that is. I'm not seeing any hands being raised of those in attendance on Zoom. Anybody in the room wishing to address the board? Okay. So we've now received all public comment on the proposed urban water management plan. We are going to close the public hearing presently. It's now time for board members to discuss the proposed urban water management plan and consider any director proposed amendments. So does Director Moore, do you have anything you would like to open the discussion with?
I do not.
Director Smith, do you have anything you would like to open the discussion with?
No, I'm just gonna try to, if you say anything, I'll just try to read what you say, because you're the only one that really picks up clearly what you say. So sorry.
Thank you, Director Smith, and I am working very hard to be very close to this microphone, speak slow.
You're doing a good job. Thank you so much.
Director Imamura, any discussion you'd?
No discussion, but I just have to approve approval of the 2025 urban water management.
I'll second.
How can you hear him?
From Vice President Schreiner, was there any discussion before we go to a motion?
Only thing is a small typo on 1-5, but would the motion already include that? Yes, that's it.
Okay, so there are no proposed amendments being made to the plan. The motion, I believe Director Imamura, you made the motion to.
What can you, I'm sorry, Gail, can you repeat what Vice President Schreiner said though? Because it didn't
Vice
come up.
President Schreiner said there was a typographical error in the urban water management plan in section 5.1.
Okay,
I'm sorry, 1.5.
1.5.
It
Okay.
right now, is it the insert date that you're asking them to insert the date? Which
No,
they will?
There was a reversal of letters and a water shortage contingency plan at the bottom. It looks a little bit like.
Oh, it's highlighted. It's highlighted adopt plan on insert date.
Oh, it's the misspelling of contingency.
Correct.
Oh. Oh, correct. Yeah, that's misspelled. Mm-hmm.
Okay, So the motion then, and I believe Director Imamura, you made the motion to approve with that correction, the 2025, to adopt a resolution approving the 2025 Marina Coast Water District urban urban waterment. Okay. Approving the 2025 Marina Coast Water District urban water management plan. And the second was by Director Moore.
That is correct, although I do have a question for Director
Please.
Imamura. So for example, on page 1-5 in section 1.8, Director Smith pointed out that there's a highlighted phrase, insert date. Director Imamura, did your motion include asking staff to insert the appropriate dates anywhere in the document where we see insert date highlighted?
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, so we now have a motion. We have a second for approval. We now take a roll call vote on the motion to adopt this resolution. Please, Katie.
Director Imamura,
Yes.
Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Vice President Schreiner.
Yes.
President Morton.
Yes. So the resolution to approve the Marina Coast Water District Urban Water Management Plan is approved unanimously by the board. I thank staff and our consultant, Mr. Pelly, for the excellent work, both in the work product and in your presentation, making us informed and having the ability to understand and improve the policy as written. Thank you. Okay, with that, we are on item 10, informational items. We will be starting with the general manager's report.
I will yield the table to the district council for a moment.
So Roger, were we supposed to read this before we arrived? You gotta turn that mic on. You have to speak
Right.
loud and slow.
This will be brought back to the board either at the July or August meeting. What we did was we researched Senate Bill 707, and it's very complex and detailed. And so one of the things we did was we researched there's 4 types now of teleconferencing. Before there were just additional and alternative, and I recall that the board said the board wasn't going to use alternative. Now all 4 of these are men, and they don't have uniform rules for each one. I mean, which is understandable, but you think some would be similar. So it's sort of complex because you have to figure out, well, if you're going to miss a meeting, what are the requirements and what do you qualify the reason for you missing it? What is the reason? And you'll go through and you see that, like today, like the alternative just cause, it has a lot of good reasons, but you're limited to 2 times a year. And one of the things when we bring it back is the board has to decide whether 2 times a year is a fiscal year or 10. But, and one of the things that, you'll sort of get the feel that when you read this, is that a lot of this is related to the American Disability Act. So that the rules are not discriminating against somebody with disability. And because of that, they have these different rules, different times.
And what we did was also come up with a checklist for the 4 different topics.
Thank you.
Thank you. President, so just a few items. Hopefully, when you came in to see me, you saw these 2 beautiful big white boxes out here adjacent to our building with a blue door. Those are our batteries. So we're not hooked up yet, but shortly we will have enough energy here at the site to power 1/4 of the city of Marine, 2.5 megawatts. So, and our power project is moving forward. So pretty quick, our charge point chargers will be open to the public at a rate to start generating revenue for the project. Also, the board, a couple of meetings back, in April, gave me direction to pay 2 invoices. The invoices have been processed, and the overhead charge to that marine station has been removed. So we have successfully completed that work. Also, to let the board know, Senator Laird did submit a letter to Joaquin, the chair of the State Water Board, requesting an update on the removal of moratorium on the meters. I am in the process of trying to get meetings with Revis and Addis to also get them to send copycat letters as well. And I forwarded those also on to the executive officer, Eric Oppenheimer, and to the deputy director, Eric Hedla. So everybody's on the same playing field, know that we're pursuing the moratorium. And then on the 23rd, the State Land Commission will take up the lease of the land lease for Callahan for 4 new wells and their current pilot plant. And Director Schreiner and I will be driving up that morning. So
That's
Anybody
July 23rd.
that's starts at noon for item number 6. So potentially late in the evening. Who knows? It's going to be in San Francisco.
More hopeful than that, because
Yeah.
items 1 through 59 are confirmed.
Hopefully they're back. Anyway, we've got a lot of irons in the fire, and we're continuing to move forward. And our partner entities, both the city and Monterey Peninsula Water Management District, have aligned with us on a lot of these issues.
Thank you for your report. Next, we're going to Resources Groundwater Sustainability Committee. Director Moore.
Yes, thank you very much. And you all saw the fruits of what the Resources Groundwater Committee, their interaction on the groundwater management plan. Thank you very much for approving that. That was the main item of business.
I concur. Community Outreach Committee. Director Immerman.
Yes, so Roush Communications, specifically Mark, had given us his review of our outreach, and it was very comprehensive. If you want any more details about the specifics, he goes into real specifics about, any feedback that we get. One of the more popular items that he had highlighted was, of course, general manager. It's 5 years. I don't know if you want to comment on that, but he made a pretty big deal about that.
Oh, I want to
Yeah,
know
it
what
was
it was.
Yeah, apparently it was relatively popular. We got a lot of hits and a lot of forward.
I think it was greater than the chili cook-off win.
Yeah, it worked my chili
Yeah,
cook-off
so
win, which
the
I'm a little
chili
upset
cook-off
about.
was like,
Should've been
wow.
Way
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
It was it took me a long time to get that.
Right. So
5 years.
so otherwise, Martin's been pretty up on the issues, and also with regard to social media, he was getting back to people responding to Facebook, next door. I don't subscribe to any of those, so I'm interested in anyway, oh, and so the upcoming America 250 was brought up that we'd like to see some more of that on the website as well. So he's going to work on that hopefully sooner than later because 4th of July is a couple weeks from now. Good last week. So, that's pretty much it.
May I ask that you just, so when you're saying he's working on the 250th celebration for our website, would that also be in emails and social media presentation, just across the board, all of our outreach to the public will have some notation?
Yeah, we focus predominantly on national events, so
Perfect.
holidays, stuff like that. We're driving the flag into those pieces of media and celebratory words.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Director Imamura. Next is M1 Water Board Member Liaison, Director Moore.
Yes, thank you very much. So the agendas for this Friday, this coming Friday's Recycled Water Committee meeting are not out yet, so can't tell you what's on that. The next board meeting is on the 29th of June. Again, its agenda isn't out, so I can't exactly tell you what is on that. There were, however, two interesting items at last Friday's budget and personnel meeting. I think most of you know that we have, since the pandemic, had a low-income assistance program for people paying their fees to Monterey One Water for wastewater treatment. That all comes out of non-rate revenue. And originally it was conceived that people had to qualify either through the PG&E CARES program or something called FARA. Don't ask me what that acronym stands for. And we got good response, but I believe we'd only put about $200,000 into that support during COVID times. So staff has proposed expanding this somewhat, both expanding the amount by another $50,000 or $100,000, but also adding alternative pathways to qualify. CalFresh, for example, WIC, SSI, or someone can actually turn over copies of their tax returns if they think they qualify for that low income help. It doesn't pay the entire bill at all, but provides a few months worth of support from non-rate revenue. And in addition, there have been some calls from our customers who wouldn't qualify for this low income, but arguably don't produce very much wastewater at all. And since we don't have water use records from the various water suppliers that our customers end up using to generate the wastewater that they centrally send to Monterey One Water. So there's a proposal that'll be coming before the board for a low use variance program. Would only be about a 15% reduction in your bi-monthly fees. But to qualify for the program, there's an application process, there's a $50 application fee, and you have to show your official water consumption records, and they need to reflect less than 75 gallons per day over the year. You apply for the program. The $50 fee covers 5 years of program, but every year you still have to reapply or I wouldn't exactly say it's reapply, but you have to resupply the most recent year's records and demonstrate that you're still under 75 gallons per day. And this is aimed at typically ADUs, the widower living on fixed income. That's the intent of the program. And again, it will be funded by non-rate revenue. So those are two significant revision of an existing program and proposal of a new program that are likely to be coming in front of the board on the 29th of June. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Moore. So that covers the committee. I want to go back to committee community outreach, and maybe this is where it is, but our assistance program, we should be in the process of having applications in May and June.
Yes.
And how are we communicating that out to the public? Maybe I just don't get
Went
the,
out. An email just went out to let the community know, the district know that it's just now starting, effective June 15th. So
okay, today.
yeah, it just actually went out today.
Okay, board member requests for future agenda items. I know we have a carryover on art policy to go on the future agenda. We have a carryover in closed session on evaluation of personnel. I do know that previously we were going to just kind of hit our strategic plan that was like in February, and it's been kind of failing. I'm not, if you have a heavy load, but I think it's important to constantly remind us as directors, especially as we go into a new fiscal year. Any other directors wish to add something to the agenda?
None.
Director Smith,
Well, hopefully I don't have to add this to the agenda, but we need to get this situation fixed so we're ADA compliant when people are on Zoom.
thank you for calling that to our attention.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't see anybody else giving comments for future agenda items. It's time for director comments. Director Moore,
Thank you very much for a good meeting. That's it.
thank you. Director Smith,
I think I made most of my comments during this meeting because I don't really have much else to say except for thank you for allowing me to be here after taking care of a family member, which has been a rough week for me, and adding to this meeting that I couldn't hear or picking up words that you guys really wouldn't even want people to have to read because some of them were really inappropriate of what closed captioning picked up. So other than that, thank you, and hopefully we can get this fixed.
thank you, Director Smith. Director
Mhm.
Imamura,
I'd just like to welcome Paula back. Good to see you. So,
Oh,
also,
welcome.
and thank you to staff for your presentation, Derek, Mary, and Patrick, and Mr. Katie there. I just in. So, anyway, and also we don't mention Roger much, but you know, you're not taken for granted, so we appreciate you coming here. You got a long drive, so it's good to have you, and thanks again. So just wanted to say hopefully everyone has a safe 4th of July, and we're not going to move until July. I guess after July 20th, it's next week. So and again, just happy America 250. So it's quite an achievement. Thank you.
Vice President Sharman,
Yeah, I would like to also thank staff and Mr. Crowley for coming to present. As well as this last weekend, they had a great celebration of Juneteenth in Seaside. You know her party in Seaside, but I saw a lot of Marina neighbors, and people told me they were coming in from Fresno and Sacramento, so it drew quite across the region. So I hope that our community outreach has also got that on the radar, as well as happy 4th of July to everyone. Happy 250th. I remember celebrating the 200 in DC a long, long time ago. But yeah, it's an important milestone for the country and for everyone who participates with it and seeking liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. I echo the sentiments that have been given with regard to the 4th of July and our celebration and the freedoms that we all enjoy, and that we at this board continue to function within the framework of meetings and notices and due process, and all of that is furthering this freedom and the right to free speech and the right for us to have the public hear us, have us hear them. And so in many ways,
Literally.
we are living that in every one of our meetings. And it gives us the opportunity in this country that we are able to do that. I am very proud of the work that has been done by staff. Mr. Crowley, thank you for summarizing the work that our staff has done in such a well-written way, understandable, and for us to meet our state requirements of reporting. All of you, welcome back. We are happy to see you, Miss Riso. We did miss you. Katie did a great job, but you are definitely missed. And happy 4th of July. And with that, we will adjourn the meeting.